My girlfriend just told me she's been cheating for 6 months, but here's why I'm not upset. My girlfriend Riley came home yesterday looking like she'd been crying for hours. Her mascara was smudged, her hands were shaking, and she had that look people get when they're about to confess something terrible. "We need to talk," she said, sitting down across from me at our kitchen table. "I've been seeing someone else for 6 months. His name is Marcus. He works at the gym I go to, and I'm so sorry." She braced herself for the explosion, for me to start yelling, throwing things, demanding to know every detail. Instead, I just looked at her calmly and said, "Thanks for telling me the truth." Her face went from guilty to confused in about 2 seconds. "That's it? You're not going to scream at me? Ask me why I did it?" "Nope," I said, taking a sip of my coffee like she'd just told me it might rain tomorrow. Here's what Riley didn't know. I'd hired a private investigator named Detective Williams 3 weeks earlier. Not because I suspected the cheating, though I had my suspicions. I hired him for something much more serious. For the past year and a half, money had been disappearing from my small business account. At first, it was small amounts, $50 here, $100 there, easy to miss in the daily expenses. But then it got bigger, $500, $1,000. Then chunks of $3,000 and $4,000 at a time. I run a small marketing consultancy that I built from nothing over 5 years. Every dollar matters when you're trying to grow. I started noticing the discrepancies about 8 months ago when my accountant mentioned our cash flow didn't match our invoicing. Riley was the only other person with access to the business account. I'd added her 2 years ago when we moved in together, thinking it would be convenient for her to handle some of the administrative stuff when I was traveling for client meetings. The detective had been following her for 3 weeks, documenting everything. Her shopping trips that didn't match her salary, the expensive dinners she was having with Marcus while telling me she was working late, the new jewelry, the designer handbags, the sudden interest in luxury everything. But more importantly, he'd been documenting her visits to the bank, the cash withdrawals that happened like clockwork every Tuesday and Friday, the transfers she was making to accounts I'd never seen before. "Actually, Riley," I said, reaching for my phone, "since we're being honest with each other, I have something to show you too." I pulled up the photo gallery Detective Williams had sent me that morning. Riley and Marcus holding hands outside a restaurant that charges $200 per person. Riley at a jewelry store, paying cash for what looked like a very expensive watch. Riley at the bank, clearly making a transaction at the teller window. Her face went from confused to pale white in about half a second. "How did you get these? Were you having me followed?" "Same way I found out about the $23,000 you've stolen from my business account over the past year and a half," I said, still using that same calm, conversational tone. She started crying, but these weren't the guilty tears from her cheating confession. These were the terrified tears of someone who just realized they might be going to prison. "I can explain," she stammered. "I was going to pay it back. You needed to fund your relationship with Marcus," I finished for her. "Those expensive dinners, the gifts, the weekend trips you told me were work conferences. I have documentation of everything, Riley. Bank records, receipts, photos, timestamps." She was full on sobbing now. "Please don't call the police. I'll pay it back. I'll get a loan. Here's what's going to happen," I said, sliding a folder across the table. "My lawyer prepared this confession letter and repayment agreement. You're going to transfer every single penny back to my business account by Friday. Then you're going to sign this document admitting to the theft and agreeing never to contact me or any of my clients again." She opened the folder with shaking hands. "And if I don't? Then Detective Williams takes his evidence to the police Monday morning, and you get to explain to a judge why you stole money to impress your gym boyfriend." The whole confession took about 20 minutes. She signed everything, initiated the bank transfers from her phone right there at the kitchen table, and even threw in an extra $2,000 as interest. "I was actually planning to call the police tomorrow," I told her as she packed her things, "but your cheating confession gave me a much cleaner way to handle this." She moved out that same day. Marcus apparently wasn't interested in dating someone who came with embezzlement baggage. And my business account back to exactly where it should be, plus interest.